Greetings and peace, everybody. Today I have the honor of being joined by my friend and brother, Alexander. And today we will talk about my book, The Spiritual Reflections of the Sufi Freemason, Vol.1. And my brother has supported me with his love and his graciousness. And he has read the book, he's went through it. So now he will basically interview me or ask me questions pertaining to the book or things that stood out to him and what aspects of the book he liked, what stood out to him, and what is it that I can expand on further in this video talk and conversation that we will have. So I would like to introduce Brother Alexander, let him introduce himself, and then we'll take it from there.
No, it's great to be on your YouTube channel, Salman. I bought your book, and like I said, since I've purchased it, I've got nothing else but good things to say about it. I'm
Thank you.
very glad I purchased it, and I wanted to ask you questions about the book, and I think these questions will be good for everyone else to hear. So that's what I'd like to do.
All right.
But yeah, so let's go for it. So first of all, just for anyone who doesn't know, can you quickly just summarize? What's the book about?
So the Spiritual Reflections of the Sufi Freemason, Vol.1, basically details my life from my Masonic and Sufi point of view. It basically shows how I make the parallel comparisons between Islam, Sufism, and Freemasonry, and how I see them basically the same paths, but in laid out in their own unique way. You could say the best way to summarize that. I
Excellent.
lay out like a little bit of my background, my family, who I am, how I came to be, who I came to be, and the
Mm-hmm.
different scenarios. What I did is I have a intro. I do like talk on Sufism and Islam and Freemasonry. Then
Mm-hmm.
I cover the Buddhist aspect because I was always connected to the Buddhist teachings as well. And then the rest of the book is basically like a journal. It has a time, a date, and what I was feeling at that time when I made that entry, and how, from my Sufi and Masonic perception and point of view, how I was able to analyze those situations and give my own interpretation. So the book basically is different from your average Masonic or Sufi books where they're getting into the academic stuff right away. Everything is
Mm-hmm.
professional, laid out. This book is from my heart, and I wanted every average person who read it to connect with it. That if I could do something like that, then they can do it too. Or just to
Yep.
put my thoughts and hearts and mind down there. No, there's no specific structure.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is there for those who have the heart, mind, and the patience to read my message and understand my vision and perception. That book is for them. And I'm glad that Almighty God gave me the strength that within my lifetime I was able to produce at least one book and leave something behind for the human family.
You can really sense, like you're talking about, sort of putting your heart into the book. You can really sense your heart. In fact, my favorite part of your book is the introduction. That's my favorite chapter because I don't want to spoil the book, but so I'm not going to give. So I'm not going to give spoilers, but the introduction sort of takes us back to when you were a child growing up, and how you came into Freemasonry, and then a bit about your family and so on. That's actually my favorite chapter of the whole book. The whole book's excellent in total, but that's definitely my favorite chapter because we really get to know you. And how did you get inspired to write a book? Because people don't. Behind the scenes, I was, I had been talking to you about writing a book, and you were giving me loads of good advice. I just put it on hold because I found it not the right time, very difficult. So how did you get inspired to write this book? What made you think that, what made you decide to write a book?
Well, it was a few brothers out there who are authors who inspired me, but
Mm-hmm.
my other main inspiration was the aspect of my YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that, okay, not everyone is on the YouTube platform
Mm-hmm.
or they're using
Mm-hmm.
the internet so where can I spread my message? The same
Mm-hmm.
message that I'm spreading on the internet and these
Mm-hmm.
video platforms like Facebook and YouTube. But the
Mm-hmm.
same message, I want to put it into a text format. So those who are in the reading world and in the world of books. So my message is shared on both platforms in whichever
Yeah.
way they choose to receive
That's
it.
actually, I was thinking about that earlier on today because there, you use the word world. I mean, you see the internet world, and there's a sort of an internet world, and there's a book world, and
Yeah.
sometimes there's no crossover in between. So, for example, there's some people that just completely live in the book world,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't bother with the internet, don't bother with YouTube, and they wouldn't be able to benefit from your, what your teachings. So this sort of allows them to come into the fold, and I was thinking about that earlier. And the
Mm.
good thing is it's the same it's literally the same information, because you're taking you base the book from your YouTube videos. So, whether you're in the YouTube world or in the book world, you're getting the exact same, you know, teachings from the big Uncle Sal.
Yeah, that's basically my intention out there because a lot of people they put these books out there, I guess, to make money or to do other things. For me, I
Mhm.
tell the people, if you don't want to buy the book, just watch my videos. You're gonna get
Uh-huh.
the same teachings and message.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
if you,
even if you did do it to make money, there's nothing wrong with that. But people don't know. I mean, you were teaching me all this stuff, but if you sell books on Amazon using their publishing program,
yeah,
I mean, they take a huge chunk of the commission. You're left with you could be left with $1 or $2 per book or something like that, depending on how you structure it. So, I can tell you didn't do it for money. It's just you need to reach the people who just read books. It's just not about money. And I remember watching one of your videos. You mentioned someone may have complained to you or something like that about I think they might have not accused, but insinuated that you did it for money. Is that correct? Did
yeah,
someone do that?
that's right because I put the link
Yeah.
to my book in my YouTube
Yeah.
videos.
Mm-hmm.
And this person, he has a
Mm-hmm.
channel too, and he
Mm-hmm.
had said that, okay, why are you
Mm-hmm.
doing this? And I'm said,
Yeah.
and I tell him that for the last 2 to 3 years when I had my YouTube
Mm-hmm.
channel, hours of lectures, videos, presentations, everything is for free. I
Mm-hmm.
never ask for donations. I don't have Patreons, Cash
Mm-hmm.
Apps. I don't use any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
go on your stuff, you have all of that listed. So
Yeah.
a lot of these people, they just try to, when they see a soul that's of a light,
Mm-hmm.
you have these dark elements that try to come and demoralize you and get under your skin. So when I sent him that reply, he never answered to me because those people are, they're
Yeah.
just there to antagonize you. And on this
Mm-hmm.
path, whether you're on the spiritual path,
Mm-hmm.
Masonic path, any path in life, you're always going to find that
Yeah.
element
Yeah.
between the light and the dark that's there to uh, take away the people who are there to unite humanity, share
Mm-hmm.
love and light, because a lot of them fear your light. So that basically just motivates me to continue doing what
Good.
I'm doing at a better level.
Good. And yeah, I mean, I agree with you. And like I said, I can tell you're not doing this for money, but even if you were, you know, it's just, I mean, if you see an advert for, let's say, a product, on your YouTube channel, are you going to then complain to the advertiser? Why are you trying to sell me your product? I mean, at least your product is spiritual. At least there's a spiritual benefit to it. So I
Yeah,
mean, there's,
yeah.
but what was difficult and what was easy about writing this book? So what were the easy aspects of writing this book, and what did you find difficult? Because like I said, it's I don't know if some of your fans are probably some of your followers are probably authors, but if you're not, writing a book is actually really difficult. I mean, the amount of times I was writing and then I just deleted the whole thing, write again, delete the whole thing, or delete a whole chapter, start again. So, I mean, what did you find easy? What did you find difficult about writing this book?
Yes, definitely. So what I found easy about writing the book was that the messages that I was sharing in my YouTube videos, that was
Mm-hmm.
basically the same that I was carrying over in text format.
Mm-hmm.
But what I found difficult was the amount of time that it took me to structure the book, make the cover, make the back cover, put it
Mm-hmm.
together from cover to cover, make sure that
Mm-hmm.
all the things that I wanted to lay out there in a perfect
Mm-hmm.
manner, like the intro, like with
Mm-hmm.
when soon as you read the intro,
Mm-hmm.
you have the reader's attention because now they
Exactly.
feel a
Yeah.
connection to you.
Exactly.
They
Yeah.
feel an immediate connection to me, and now they'll
Mm-hmm.
be willing to go through the rest of the book to see that if this individual already captured my attention
Mm-hmm.
and my emotion in the beginning, what does he have to
Mm-hmm.
share in the rest of the book? So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I was basically laying out, is how do I want to keep it short, sweet, and to the point, and a reasonable amount or length for a book. And that's exactly how I laid it out in my format. And it took me about like 6 to 7 months to
Wow.
put it together. So it wasn't
Yeah.
something that I did in a day or a week or a
Mm-hmm.
month. This is something that took me a while to put together, and
Mm-hmm.
that's with having an idea of what to write about. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I agree that writing and
Difficult.
publishing is
Yeah.
indeed
It's
a
really difficult.
difficult endeavor, and those who
Mm-hmm.
can do it, it's more power to them because they have the energy and the heart and love to
Mm-hmm.
share their message with the world. And I'm glad that Almighty God had chosen me to be amongst that group to do what I
Yeah.
did. And I encourage everyone that if someone like me can do it,
Mm-hmm.
then anyone can do it.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of inspiration from you, to be honest. You writing this book and just having this book in my hand, when I was going through like low times, just having your book with me gave me a bit of inspiration. But you mentioned
Mm.
formatting this book. You put some secrets. You thought you put some secret formatting in this. You thought I wouldn't find it out, mate, but I did. I did. First of all, I noticed you had, when I asked you about this, I noticed you had basically 32 chapters and then the conclusion, which is the 33rd chapter.
Yes.
So, was that on purpose?
Yes, everything in my book is done on purpose.
Tell
So
us about the 33 first. Why
so
did you
the
do that?
33 is basically that number of completion. For
Mm-hmm.
me, my numerical value of my name comes up to the number 9.
Okay.
So three times three is 9, or the
Mm-hmm.
369, the perfect combination of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So I laid that out because that's when you reach that enlightenment with God, and
Mm-hmm.
to connect yourself with when a man and God basically in their heart and mind make that connection with each other, to be this aspect of the soul in this lifetime, to bring people together, to leave this world in a better condition. So the aspect of the way that my cover is, the chapters of the book, the number of pages, and the way that everything is kind of laid out in its imperfection, it basically teaches you that nobody is perfect except
Mm-hmm.
God. If we
That's
were
yeah,
perfect, we wouldn't be in this realm right now, struggling to get
true.
out of this cycle and of suffering that we're in right now.
Mm-hmm. That's another thing, that the page number, I noticed that as well. And I asked you about that, but there's 111 pages, 111. So that as well, because I am a huge fan. Well, I love sort of numerology and things like that. But even the size of the book, because I asked you, why did you pick this size? And then even that had specific motivations,
Yeah,
right?
8 by 10, and then 18.
Mm-hmm.
1 plus 8 is 9, so that comes
Mm-hmm.
up to my value again.
Yeah, and that's awesome. That's awesome. And what kind of response have you got so far from the book? Like, have you got, what's the response been to your book?
So far, I'm very grateful to God for this being my first book, and
Mm-hmm.
inshallah, in the future, God willing, I will release more. But
Mm-hmm.
there's always a right time and right place for it. So right
Sure.
now, I'm glad that at least the aspect of being a successful published author is off of my
Mm-hmm.
life's bucket list.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the individuals in my life, whether they were Freemasons, non-Freemasons,
Mm-hmm.
Sufis, non-Sufis, Americans, Pakistanis, British, Irish, everyone all over the world gave me great feedback. And my book, I've sent, I've given away so many copies
Yeah.
without free of charge, like to the individuals that were within my vicinity whom I could do that for.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just basically to spread the message, to
Mm-hmm.
spread that message. And everyone has given me good ratings, both
Mm-hmm.
online and in person, messaging me in person. So I'm grateful for that, that they were able to understand where I was coming from and understand the message that I was able to give for my book. And that means everything to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. You had mentioned, you actually showed us the letter. Well, you made it public. You had sent a free copy to Dr. David Staples. He's the CEO of Freemasonry in United Grand Lodge of England, and he received it and sent you that letter back. How did you feel about that?
I felt great. I
Yeah.
felt very, very
Mm-hmm.
nice and very humbled because, honestly speaking with you, you're my brother and I can speak with you honestly that
Mm-hmm.
the aspect of there were many people here in the States that I sent the
Mm-hmm.
book to for free, people that I
Right.
knew.
Yeah.
They never gave me any kind of like even a message or a email, nothing, no acknowledgement.
Why? Why do you think
But
that is?
it's just the way that because you have to look at me.
Mm.
I'm a Pakistani brown-skinned Muslim,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes no matter what you do, how you do it, in whatever
Mm-hmm.
format you do it, for some people in their eyes, you'll never be good enough.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I'm not saying that all of them are like that, but
Mm-hmm.
that's what I've experienced so far.
Yeah.
But anytime I send it to friends in
Mm-hmm.
or brothers in England,
Mm-hmm.
Ireland, in other parts of the country,
Mm-hmm.
they always gave me like good feedback. At least it's
Good.
the acknowledgement and to appreciate somebody's
Sure.
love that matters the most.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that Dr. David Staples, CEO of UGLE,
Mm-hmm.
acknowledged my book and the teachings inscribed in it. And that's what matters most, to get my message to those
Mm-hmm.
that are of influence, that are in leadership positions, to show
Sure.
them
Sure.
that this is the vision that I have for not just the fraternity, but for the world,
Mm-hmm.
for humanity. And that means the world for me, for individuals like that to respond to me. And
Mm-hmm.
I respect and send my love and regards back to Dr. David Staples and UGLE.
Excellent. Excellent. I've got your book in my hand actually. So I'm just looking through it. So I mean, I don't want to give away any spoilers, but do you mind if we just maybe pick specific aspects of the book and then we can sort of ask questions about that?
Sure, whatever you like, whatever stands out to you, feel free to ask anything.
Excellent, excellent. So the page I'm on right now is well, it's number 4. So you've listed the videos numerically from 1 to 32. It's
Mm.
number 4, and it's can I read out the title or?
Yeah, sure, you could do that.
Well, I'll just say what it's about. It's about the path of an old soul, starseed indigo. Do you
Yes,
remember
yes.
that? Yeah, okay. And just from reading it, I mean, you and I off screen, we talked about. I hadn't heard about this term before you mentioned it,
Mm.
but the term is indigo children. I didn't really know what that was until you mentioned it. Then after you mentioned it, I noticed it in your book as well. Um, and just from reading it, first of all, do you want to explain what an indigo child is? And number one, and number two, just from reading it, it appears that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but from the tone of your words, it appears that you are amongst those indigo children. Correct? Is that correct?
Yes, that's how many have been able to identify me as, and it's interesting because there was an individual also who goes
Mm-hmm.
by and the moniker of an indigo child from the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
And from the Caribbean, he reached out to me. He said, I found you on the internet and I
Mm-hmm.
identified your soul. And I'm following the path of Freemasonry. And he said, with your blessings and prayers, I was first struggling with work, with finding a place to live, a job.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, everything has been connecting for me ever since I started strengthening my faith. So
Mm-hmm. But
I have these
for those
teachings.
who don't know, what is an indigo child? For those who don't know.
So indigo child is someone who basically sees the world from a very different perception. They want to see all humanity as one, united in love, not fear,
Mm-hmm.
not chaos, not
Mm-hmm.
division, not war, anger, fear, hatred between
Mm-hmm.
different races, religions, ideologies, countries. They want to see a world where there's heaven on earth,
Mm-hmm.
where everyone is abundantly living, no one's conspiring against each other, no one's conniving or scheming against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Indigo children are those of a pure heart, mind, body, and soul, the heart and
Mm-hmm.
mind of a child, the
Mm-hmm.
heart and mind, and basically their being of pure innocence, where
Mm-hmm.
they have no hatred. Some
Mm-hmm.
people might call them naive, some people might call them with the children mentality, but they are of
Mm-hmm.
the purest souls that you could meet, those that will stick by you no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
They will only
Yeah.
depart from you if they feel
Mm-hmm.
that you go against what humanity stands for.
I think the indigo, is it something to do with the color of an aura, or because indigo is a color, obviously. So is that
Uh,
to do with the color of an aura? I was reading something to that effect.
yeah, it depends because there's like different perceptions depending on the source where you take it from. So
Hmm.
there was a lady who I had come across while I was working in my local area, and she had told me that I had a, like with my aura, some people can see it, I guess, and they said it's,
Right.
she told me I had a white aura similar to an
Okay.
indigo child. So indigo children usually have like a white aura, like an indigo color aura. It's or
Hmm.
basically a mix of the two.
Hmm.
Any color that represents purity and love and light, that's who
Hmm.
indigo children are. And you can identify each other with their tone, with their nature, with how they
Hmm.
approach things. You know
Right.
that they're a benevolent soul, and that makes them a part of that collective.
Awesome. Awesome. And in the same chapter, you talk about a topic we've discussed a few times, the Matrix, which is an awesome thing. I like how in your book that, you mentioned these things, films. There's several films. I think you might mention video games and stuff, things
Yeah,
that we grew up with. So things that we can relate to.
sure.
Do you think that's important in a book?
It's important because in my generation right now, Brother Alexander is suffering, and I can feel
Mm-hmm.
that suffering in my heart. Where at the times of our parents and grandparents, having financial stability, having a job, having a home,
Mm-hmm.
marriage, relationship, kids was all easy. It was all
Mm-hmm.
doable, but now it's next to impossible. So
Mm-hmm.
our generation is suffering very much, and I want them to be able to feel a connection to me that this individual has seen life from my point of view, experienced it, the
Mm-hmm.
ups and downs. And once you break through that barrier and make that connection, then they can sit down and say, okay, now I could watch his video, and now I can read his book and be able to take something away from it. An example could be a teacher in the classroom. The
Mm-hmm.
teacher, he knows that he has a difficult task of teaching these children the subject that
Mm-hmm.
he's instructed to. But what does he do first? He
Mm-hmm.
makes them laugh, he tells them jokes, and he forms a bond with the students.
Sure.
That way, they'll be able to open to receive the information that he's giving them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And one thing I like about your book is it's extreme. It's just, it's a very personal book. You can, do you know what I mean? It's as if, when you're reading the book, it's as if you're personally dictating the words,
Yes.
which is something I really like about this book.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right. I wanted it to be different, my brother. Like you could
mhm,
pick up any Masonic book and you could pick up any historical, religious,
mhm,
Sufi book, and everything is kind of laid out in this like super professional structure. And
yeah.
it's more than like not just the author, but it's a handful
Mhm,
of individuals who have went through that book and have added
mhm,
their own personal touch to it. So with this book, it's just me and me alone and my heart and essence. No one else
mhm,
went through this book except me. So it's pure in its origin.
mhm. And what do you hope to achieve through this book? So this is volume 1. What are you hoping this book will achieve?
Well, in terms of being volume one, I hope it spreads that message of love, hope, peace, and unity that I've stressed in there for
Mm-hmm.
humanity, for those that are willing to listen and hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
And in the future, when I do release volume two, when the time is right,
Mm-hmm.
so that could be a year from now, 2 years
Mm-hmm.
from now, a few years from now, whenever I feel it in my heart
Mm-hmm.
that is necessary to do so. At least I'm happy that at least I've laid the first cornerstone of this situation with my videos, having a book out there. So
Mm-hmm.
if anything can happen in life. I don't know how long I'm alive for.
Mm-hmm.
So I can feel satisfied with the fact that at least I left something behind for humanity, that I didn't have that regret, that what is it that I wanted to share with humanity, with my loved ones, my family, my brotherhood, now that they know. So those that are willing to hear what I have to share, they can watch my videos, which are going to be on the internet forever, even after my life. My
Mm-hmm.
book is always going to be out there forever. So I feel satisfied with the rest of my life knowing that whatever message or legacy that I wanted to leave behind, the
Mm-hmm.
many of those stones have already been laid. And as my life continues to progress, when I'm still here, I will
Hmm.
continue to build upon that. But if not, I feel satisfied with what I've already left behind.
And what can we expect from volume two whenever it comes out? You know, whenever the time's right, then you write volume two. Do you have any ideas what you would
Yes,
like volume two to include? Is that something you want to keep under wraps for now until it's released?
I will, yeah, I would like to keep that to myself for
Sure, of
now
course,
because
just until, yeah.
there comes a time of self-realization where I know what is it that I want to share with the people in volume
Hmm.
two, and when the time is right, that they'll have
Sure.
it, and it's gonna be a lot different than what you've
Different
seen in
from,
volume one. So
gotcha,
it's
gotcha.
something that you just gotta wait to see it.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I really like this style where you've sort of done the videos first and then basically based the book on it, you know, which is, you know, I think that's a good for anyone looking to write a book. I think that's a good policy because, I mean, even before you start writing the book, you've already got all this content and it's all your content, you know. So I think that was a good idea. And I think that's sort of, I mean, I'm sort of, I think that's sort of what I've learned as well. I think that's the best way to go
Yeah,
forward. You make the videos first, and then you've got a lot of starting material to write that book, you know.
exactly. That's exactly right, and it's all yours. And I lay
Exactly.
that out perfectly in the book.
Mm-hmm.
That everything is basically a transcript version. I mean, besides the intro and the conclusion, the
Mm-hmm.
rest of the book is just a transcript version of what I've already put out there for free for
Mm-hmm.
whoever wants to learn.
Mm-hmm. Have you had any? I know that you had sent the book to some Freemasons in the US, and you got a cold response or no response. But have you actually got any criticisms or critiques about the book?
No, not really. Everything
That's
that I've
good.
received has been a great feedback, and I'm grateful for
Mm,
that. And I'm grateful to my brothers and friends in England, Ireland,
mm.
outside of the U.S., other places where they
Actually,
actually.
that's a good one. Tell us some of the countries that, or tell us some of the countries that the book has been sent to. You know, whether that be through Amazon or by you sending free copies. You know, can you tell us about that?
Yes, definitely. So it's basically a mix of the two, where
Mm-hmm.
it was through Amazon plus me personally sending it to
Mm-hmm.
them. So with England, Ireland, Pakistan, you have India, Lebanon. There's a country in Africa,
Mm-hmm.
Nigeria. So
Awesome.
there's 5, 6 countries, and
Mm-hmm.
every single one of those individuals from all of those countries outside of the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
always acknowledged me when I send them the book that I thank you for giving this to me, and that that just that alone, they don't have to leave me a review or do anything
Sure.
to
Sure.
patronize the book, but
Mm-hmm.
for me, for somebody to just to acknowledge somebody, that's the greatest gift that you could give them in your life.
And obviously, the title of the book is The Spiritual Reflections of a Sufi Freemason. So, because you're part of a Sufi order, did you also share your book with your Sufi teachers or your Sufi order?
I did, and they also gave me great feedback, and my
That's awesome.
Sufi order originates from Africa too.
Africa. Okay.
So
Okay.
most of my stuff, I live here in the US, and my
Mm-hmm.
majority of my life has been in the US.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of me expanding with the world community and the global community,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to teach the people even here that instead of living in judgment, fear,
Mm-hmm.
chaos, division, learn to accept each other, learn to have acknowledgement for each other, and
Mm-hmm.
not to be in a world where it's about ego and who's right, who's wrong,
Mm-hmm.
about the aspect of forgiveness, because we're in a world right now, Brother Alexander, where instead of somebody admitting their own fault, they
Mm-hmm.
rather discontinue their relations with others. They rather not
Mm-hmm.
seek forgiveness, find a middle ground. And that's what I think the reason why God has brought me to this country and requires my presence here, because
Mm-hmm.
people who think like me are very few, and whatever purpose that I'm meant to play, I accept it openly, and I continue to building upon that effort to
Sure.
continue not to lose faith in humanity, including the people here in America.
Sure. And your ebook version on Amazon is actually subtitled "Love for All is the Only Reality and Answer." I like that.
Yes,
That's on
that's
that's
the
on
truth.
your So basically, you've got the paperback version of the book, and then you've got the ebook, the digital copy. In fact, can you tell us how can people order this book? What are the ways people can order it?
Yes, my brother. So whether you're in England, Ireland, America, Amazon,
Mhm,
it's on the global Amazon market. So as long as Amazon is available in your country, you can go on Amazon.com and search for my name, Salman Sheikh,
mhm,
or you could search for my book, The Spiritual Reflections of the Sufi Freemason, and
mhm,
my book will pop up, and you're able to purchase it in paperback, physical version, or the ebook Kindle format, whatever it suits you better. And whoever
mhm,
does so, I thank you in advance for your love, your review, and your patronage.
mhm. It's awesome, Amazon, because your book was actually, even though you're based in the US, you essentially published a book in the US. This book that I have in my hands of yours, this book of yours, this was actually printed locally in the UK and then shipped to me. So Amazon, I mean, it's great. I mean, wherever you live, you can get your book probably printed in that country and dispatched very quickly. So I mean, I'd recommend whoever's listening to this to do that. Just go on Amazon, order the book, and the delivery is usually very quick. And it's a really nice book. I have to say, even just the feel of it, it's got that. It's got that matte. You obviously chose the matte cover, so it's
Yes.
got a really nice matte feel to it. And it's just a really personable book with a lot of teachings in here that would you say you can't find? I mean, would you say you can't really find these kind of teachings about Freemasonry and Sufism in other books?
Well, for with what I've understood and
Mm-hmm.
read so far, and all the things that I came across in my journey, I do, and I can proudly admit that in my book, you're gonna find teachings and reflections and viewpoints that you're not gonna find in any other
Yeah.
Masonic lecture or book,
Mm-hmm.
because it's about from the heart, from me to you, whether you're a Mason or not, to connect with you, with your soul, and to
Mm-hmm.
teach you something. And that's what it is for me. That's why there are many subjects in there in that book which you will not find anywhere else.
Mm-hmm. I mean, some people, I think, when you get into, for example, Freemasonry, there's just things that they don't talk about. We discussed this, so this isn't about Freemasonry, but I mean, for example, like, if you're a Freemason, you might not necessarily hear all the spiritual aspect of it, and that's something you're trying to bring in to Freemasonry. And I think your book is sort of helping with that.
Yes, definitely. And I mean, besides the book, the video stuff, everything that I put out there is just to teach people that everything is indeed one. When I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about all of the world religions, philosophies, that everything is teaching you the same exact thing. Just be a good person, don't hurt anybody's heart or trust, and live
Mm-hmm.
your life with gratitude, forgiveness, love, unity, and empathy. And if you can do that, then this world would be such a beautiful place to live. But it's up
Mm-hmm.
to us, those who already possess that fire within us, to teach
Mm-hmm.
that to others. And hopefully,
Sure.
within my lifetime, if God grants me the privilege to see that while I'm still alive, to
Mm-hmm.
see that where those seeds that I planted come to
Mm-hmm.
fruition.
Excellent, excellent. No, and like I said at the start of the conversation, I'm really glad I purchased this book. I actually keep it in my room. It's just sometimes I just even pick it up and just go to a random page. But yeah, I mean, again, for anyone listening in, buy the book and let Salman know whether it's a compliment or even a criticism. I mean,
Sure.
you know, um, but yeah, I mean, you've answered all my questions, and I'm really glad you've given me the time to sort of ask these questions about your book.
My
Um,
honor and pleasure, my brother, and I'm grateful always. I love you very much, and my love and support always
Likewise,
with you. I know you're always with me, and that's the life. That's all that matters. It's everything else is an illusion.
yeah.
And we're here today, we're not here tomorrow. But what we do carry with us forward is our deeds and our goodness for each other. And that's the main thing. And I thank you again for this opportunity, and I'm very grateful to you. Thank you for everything.
No, thank you, Salman, and I love you too, Uncle Sal, big Uncle Sal, and hope we can keep moving forward together.
Yes,
God
my
willing.
brother, definitely. It's all a journey, and we either go together or basically you hang separately. That's the main thing.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. Cool, cool. Well, until next video, then, shall
Yeah.
we? Shall we say good night to everyone?
Good night, everyone. Thanks again for tuning in, and hope you were able to take something away from this.
Excellent. Good night, everyone.